Ronald at 6 between the rings, off a screen at 5, looking at 2, tied up, shoots it at the buzzer. It's good! It's good! Ronald Steele at the buzzer wins it!
With that shot, the Tide was able to steal one on Saturday for their 15th win. Tonight, the number 12 team in the land visits the Plain to meet the arch-rival Auburn Tigers. This is Super Tuesday presented by Lexus. And we bring you to the unfriendly confines for Alabama to Beard Eaves Coliseum in Auburn, Alabama. It's a 12th-ranked Crimson Tide at 15-3 against the 12-8 Auburn Tigers. The 134th meeting between these two teams that dates back to 1924. Welcome, everybody. I'm Brad Nessler, along with Jimmy Dykes. 7 straight Alabama has won over Auburn, Jimmy, but I got a feeling right now Jeff Lebo's got a little bit older team. If they're going to get him, this is a possible time.
And think about this. President Bush right now giving the State of the Union address before a joint session of Congress. Alabama on the road. What do they have in common?
I don't know.
Both performing in front of a very tough crowd tonight.
That's very true.
Auburn more than capable of pulling off an upset in this building.
What the president doesn't have that we have, though, is Star Watch. Yes. And let's go to the backcourt, the 2 point guards. The president doesn't have a very good point guard either.
Well, but Ronald Steele in Alabama, hey, listen to this. He was a first-team preseason All-American, slowed by a knee injury. Auburn may take advantage of that tonight. Quantez Robertson, a speed guard, could be a real matchup problem for that Bama backcourt.
Let's take a look at that Alabama backcourt. Starting lineups for Mark Gottfried's Crimson Tide, and it looks like this in the backcourt. Ronald Steele on that bad wheel. Mikhail Riley joins him. Up front, a great front line, G. Davidson and Richard Hendricks. For the home team, Jeff Lebo's Auburn Tigers. Here's how it looks. Tez Robertson and Rasheem Barrett in the backcourt. And up front, change in the lineup as Bot Barber joins Josh Dollard and Quan Prowl. Third member of our team is Heather Cox courtside. Heather?
Well, when Ron Steele is healthy, he's considered one of the best point guards in the country. But tonight, his entire left side of his body is ailing. All season long, he's struggled with tendonitis in that left knee. More recently, struggling with a very high ankle sprain in that left ankle. Coach Gottfried said it's like driving a car with a flat tire. He's shooting off balance, has no burst of speed. And then he said, you know, there's not one part of his game that it's not affecting, guys. We'll see what happens tonight.
And here we go as Barber and G jump it up. And Auburn will have the first crack. Our officials, Joe Lindsey, Mike Stewart, and Teddy Valentine. And we're underway in a matchup that dates back to 1924.
Brad, Auburn, a team of guards and forwards. They do not have a low post scoring threat. They've got to be good on the perimeter, get some slashing points going towards the rim.
First 3 of the ball game on the way, and Dollard doesn't get it, and it's going to be out of bounds to Alabama. We understand we got a buzzer beater. Let's go back to Reese for a second.
All right, Brad, do we ever? Boston College and Florida State tied at 82, 5 seconds to go. Sean Marshall going to take it himself, firing, bottom, ball game. Off comes the jersey. Boston College still with only 1 loss in the ACC. They beat the Noles by 3.
And you know what? The whole ACC is saying, why'd we invite those guys into our conference a few years ago? And Alabama scores first here, 2-0. On the slam dunk by Alonzo G.
Alonzo G, in my opinion, is the best pro prospect that Alabama puts on the floor. 6'6", 215, attacks the rim, a perimeter threat as well. Very explosive.
Dollard, nice work inside. Jamario Davidson might have gotten a piece of that, and nobody home except Tide players on the backside. Here's Steele, and he'll give it off to Riley. Student body behind us still on their feet waiting for the first Auburn basket. Davidson on the outside, rims one out. And the battle for the rebound. And they're going to call a push, I believe, on Vaught Barber, and that'll be his first foul of the ball game. Let's take a look at Ardell keys to the game, Jimmy.
Well, for Alabama, I think they've got to score at the rim. They've got a size advantage inside and match Auburn early. They can't fall behind 15-0 like they did this past Saturday. For Auburn, attack those Bama guards. Mikhail Riley has a bad ankle. Steele has a bad knee. And Auburn has been struggling for the free throw strike. They cannot do that in this ball game, Brad.
You talked about inside, and Hendricks and G were listening to you. They've got the opening 4 points of the ball game and a 4-point lead for Alabama. From the elbow, Rasheem Barrett. And the opening shot for Auburn.
Brad, he's going to get his shots. He shoots 12 or 13 times a ball game. That's a high guy for Auburn. The question is whether he makes them or not. He's averaging 15 in their wins, only 7 in their losses.
Here's the sky hook by Davidson. Off the mark. Auburn with a chance to tie as they push it. Robertson gives it off. Dollard on the fly with a finger roll and a tie.
That's that slashing to the rim out of the Auburn bigs that I talked about. They are not sit on your knees low post guys, but they can run the floor and slash with or without the basketball.
Jeff Lebo does not have a big team, and with that, he wants that kind of pace. He wants that basket on the rebound, off the rim, and running. And here's Davidson with the outside jumper, and it goes.
He has been missing shots early in the SEC play, hovering around 36% from the field. He's a better shooter than that.
Robertson, number 2 in the conference in assists, and a push inside. Mark Gottfried already, believe it or not, in his 9th season as a head coach at Alabama. And he said that today. I didn't say that. He said, can you believe I've been here 9 years? And he has done a great job. The road record, not so good. But they're coming off another NCAA tournament appearance last year. They went all the way to losing to runner-up UCLA, 62-59 in the second round of the tournament last year.
Alabama early, doing damage on the boards on both ends. The game within the game already for the team in red.
Steele trying to get it over. And now back outside to Davidson. He's not afraid to take the three this year. Hadn't hit a career three until this season. He's got a handful this year. Here's a three on the other end. Too strong by Barrett. And back comes Alabama leading by 2.
And those are the shots that Auburn has to hit. As a speed rush up the sidelines, got a three-point look, just didn't drop it.
Steele for 3. Got it. Ronald Steele might not have quite as much jump on the jump shot, but he can still knock him down. That's his 35th 3 of the year.
He has only taken about 2 two-point shots a ball game right now because of that ankle and knee. So he has become a combo guard as a shooter once he gives it up.
Tolbert on the drive and the kick out to Robertson. Robertson fade away from the free throw line. Good looking shot by Quantez Robertson.
Yeah, that's the matchup I think you got to keep an eye on. Robertson is quicker than Ronald Steele right now because of the injuries to Steele. Robertson isolated, went one-on-one and beat Steele for the look.
Mark Gottfried told us all today at the shoot-around, I just wish one of these days Ronald Steele would wake up and have that burst of speed. There's a burst of speed on the other end. Quan Prowl with a slam. Auburn back to within 1 and the crowd into it.
Alabama came to their 1-4 set and Steele got lazy with a bounce pass on the perimeter. Do not throw bounce passes on the perimeter against pressure defense.
Davidson baseline jumper. Auburn's got a chance to lead, and they've got numbers 4-on-2. Barrett the dish underneath. Barber the score.
And another slashing move by a big out of Auburn early in this ball game. That is their strength, and they've gone to their strength now 2 or 3 times in the opening 5 minutes.
First lead of the game for the Tigers by 1 with 5 minutes in to an action-packed opening 5 minutes. Long 3 en route by Riley. Rebound again comes out to Prowl. Auburn last year won only 12 games. They've already got 12 wins, and they're 2-3 in the conference. One of their better starts in recent years. Now against their arch rival here at home in front of a big crowd, and they're off to a good start. And part of that good start is in transition off turnovers. Auburn on a 6-0 run. The steal, and Quan Prowl goes coast to coast for an Auburn lead.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Lexus and their passionate pursuit of perfection. And in part by Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar. Eating good in the neighborhood. Applebee's.
For those of you just joining us from the State of the Union, here in the state of Alabama, it's Auburn 10 and Alabama 9. 14:36 remaining in the first half. Jeff Lebo's team off to a good start. Jeff, in his 3rd year, he's 0-7 against Alabama, 0-4 as a head coach at Auburn. but he's got more to work with. Last year, so young his team was, and he was working through some sanctions when he took over here. And they're going to get better, and he's got a good incoming class. They're going to get better and better, Jimmy.
It was a major rebuilding job because of those violations and sanctions under Cliff Ellis, and he inherited the problem kind of like Scott Drew did at Baylor. Dennis Felton has done it at Georgia, but solid guys now getting those programs back to being more than competitive in their league.
Tolbert for three around a pick. Perfect screen, and Tolbert knocks down the triple.
Tolbert and Barrett are the two guys you focus in defensively if you're Alabama. In their wins, those two guys, Brad, combined for 30 points a ball game.
And what did Mark Godfrey tell us today? He said when those two guys are on, if they get hot early, and he said teams have a tendency to really shoot well against us in the early stages. That's what Georgia did on Saturday.
Yep.
And Alabama had to dig themselves out of a 19-point hole in the first half to come back and win that game, as you saw in Ronald Steele's shot at the buzzer.
We asked Ronald Steele before the ball game, hey, show us that shot again, and he said, hey, no way.
I can't do it.
I can't do it?
I said, come on, Ronald. He said, no, I really don't remember how I did it. I said, well, your coach even got the steps down. Underneath, block shot as G went up and said, gee whiz, where'd those guys come from?
Again, Auburn floods the floor with a speed rush from defense to offense.
Underneath, Josh Dollard. And now Auburn working inside, outside, everything's working as they've got a 6-point lead.
Dollard is a big, but he can really run the floor like a guard. So after one pass, he was on that low block, ready to catch with an angle and score.
11-0 run for the Tigers at home. Steele, a double team on Steele. And he almost scored trying to get it up by the rim. It's a turnover. Here comes Auburn. Tolbert. And a blocking foul underneath, and Tolbert takes a big spill.
When Auburn defensively did a terrific job of defending the ball screen that Auburn likes to sit in their half-court set. They doubled it up, forced a turnover. And Alabama, all point guards, Brad, their team usually plays to the speed of the point guard. Alabama is a great example of that this year. If Ronald Steele was healthy, the entire team would play faster and more explosive. They don't have that rhythm right now because of the speed and the out of rhythm that Ronald Steele is.
There's Frank Tolbert, the junior, out of River Falls, Alabama. And he's got the first of two. Let's check in with Heather.
Well, slow start's nothing new for Alabama. They were in the same situation on Saturday. Now, during that last timeout, Coach Godfrey reiterated to his team the importance of transition defense. He said, I want to see you guys take charges. Then offensively, he said, step out and meet the pass. Auburn getting in passing lanes. They'd like to take advantage of that. And just like Jimmy said, he emphasized, pound it inside. Let's score some points in the paint, fellas.
And if they don't score, get to the free throw line as Tolbert did on that last drive. Tolbert with 4. Basically the 6th man of the year the last 2 seasons for Auburn. Didn't start tonight, so you can consider him the 6th man. But coming off the bench, he's their leading scorer so far. And they stretch their lead to 17-9. And it's 13 straight points.
Brad, think about the importance of a point guard. North Carolina, they play to the speed of Ty Lawson. Texas A&M, they play to the speed of A.C. Law.
Robertson the steal, Tolbert up and under. And it's 15 straight points, much like Georgia did to Alabama Saturday. And Mark Godfrey has seen enough. 13:09 to go in the first half, and Auburn has opened up a 10-point lead. "15 straight points by Auburn, 13:09 to go in the half, and lead by 10, Jimmy."
That has been their defense. Auburn has done a great job of scouting report defense, and they have doubled up the basketball a couple of times now in this ball game to get turnovers. When you get doubled up, you've got to cut down the distance of the pass. Alabama's been caught standing and watching.
You know, the Tigers lost to Mississippi State over the weekend, but their game before that, they beat Tennessee 83-80. And they rallied from 14 down. In fact, they scored 18 straight points at one juncture of that ball game. So runs like this are nothing new in the last week or so. 15 straight points for Auburn. Steele dribbling through traffic, leaves it for Davidson underneath, and a whistle and a foul. And I believe it's going to be on Dollard down low.
Talk about Auburn's defense. The ball goes to the sideline. Watch the pass run forward here, guys. As soon as the red jersey catches it on that side, look at the double team come. Hold it right there. Now you've got to cut down the distance of the pass. These guys got to move instead of standing and watching. They stand and watch what happens. shoot the gap, boom, you're off and racing to the other side. You have got to move at least 2 steps closer to the guy that's being double teamed if you're one of the 4 without the basketball.
Mario Davidson at the free throw line, shooting 75%. 3 points. He's got 1,077 now. He's 2 spots ahead of his head coach on the Alabama scoring list. And he gets them both. So Mario with 4. And that snaps 15 straight Auburn points.
Alabama now goes to a 1-2-2 zone press, trying to slow down Auburn. And they have slowed down the pace of the game just with their 3-quarter court press, now back to a 2-3 zone.
Now, we're not even at the midway point of this game, but Jimmy, this opening 8 or 9 minutes is as good as we've seen any team run this year.
Yep.
And what Auburn has been able to do, either with the turnovers or off the rebound.
Go back to one of our keys to the game for Alabama. It was match Auburn early. So far, they have not done that.
Wayne Reed in the lineup now, helping out at the point. There he is. And it is a zone for Alabama. And Davidson in the middle.
And all white jerseys can shoot a 3 for Auburn. Got to honest guard him.
Extra step on the baseline. There have not been many Auburn turnovers. I mentioned the Tennessee win, and then the Mississippi State loss. If they could put one against Alabama here at home, that'd be a huge feather in their SEC cap. Right now, the SEC's beating up on each other. Ronald Steele is saying, I need a little help back here, and he's got to take a timeout as he's double-teamed.
Auburn doing a great job of cupping the point guard when Alabama sets this high ball screen. And it's happened a couple of times in this ball game. This is actually the ball right here, and as it starts to broad up, they just cup the point guard right there and drop a defender back and then try to influence the guard one way or the other and then come with a double team. And that's exactly what's happened twice in this ball game early. When the defender on the ball, Brad, drops back and cups the point guard, you're going to see, boom, there's a cup for him, and now they're going to chase it right now and get a double team. Alabama has to adjust to that and either go away from that ball screen or have a second option off of the ball screen.
Beautifully drawn up. Coach Dykes. Auburn leads by 8. 11:56 to go in the first half. Riley and Steele in there along with G, Davidson, and Hollinger, who was the guy Steele was talking to after having to call that timeout. Here's Steele on a drive, and he had it blocked. It'll still be Alabama ball as it goes out of bounds. And we've got a timeout with 11 minutes, 45 seconds remaining in the first half. Auburn looking good at home against the 12th ranked team in the country.
And Spears inside. 3-point lead for St. John's. Just about a minute and a half to go, guys.
All right, Reese here. It was Alabama early, and now Auburn leading by 8. Tolbert off the bench with 7 points to lead all scorers. Didn't start the ball game, but he made his presence felt as soon as he hit the hardwood, that's for sure. Let's check in with Heather Cox.
Well, for Auburn, it's about all in the family and the Tiger here on the Auburn bench. It's amazing. The only son-father coaching duo in the country is the Lebos. There are definitely 5 father-son coaching combos, but they are the only ones where the son is actually the head coach. Those 5 other combinations at DePaul, Drake, Florida A&M, also Valparaiso, and probably the most well-known, Bob and Pat Knight at Texas Tech. Now, the basketball bond began early when Jeff won a state title playing for his dad in high school. Jeff says having his dad on the bench is like having a library next to him. He's been in every situation. He says, oh yeah, and it doesn't hurt that I have a live-in babysitter for my 3 kids as well.
Yeah, that helps, doesn't it? Steele knocks down a 3. Dave Lebo in his 3rd year here at Auburn, but his 9th year with his son. And he was such a great high school coach. 4 straight state championships at Carlisle, Pennsylvania High. And, of course, Jeff was a McDonald's All-American back in the day, back in '85 before going to North Carolina. And that is nice to have the folks around.
All catch around the perimeter for Auburn in this zone possession right here.
4 on the shot clock. Finally, they get it inside. And Barber off the glass. So they worked it down to about 3 on the shot clock. Looked like they were going to have to hurry. And then Barber went inside and scored.
Got that ball to the short corner against that zone.
Steele, great crossover dribble, and what a drive.
And Brad, that's what he did time and time again last year, was just explode by people and get to the rim. This is as quick as I've seen Ronald Steele all year.
I said to him before the ball game, how's the knee and ankle? And they say, as Heather reported at the beginning of the ball game, they both hurt. And I said, are they getting any better? And he said, not really. I said, will they? Do you have any time off where you only have 1 game in a week? He said, no, sir. All I can do is pray that it gets better.
Sometimes that's the best medicine.
Yeah. Tolbert inside. Boy, Auburn looking tough on the interior. Lead by 7 as we're halfway through the first half.
Auburn already with 14 points in the paint. Again, it's off that slashing forward movement.
Ronald Steele misses a 3-pointer. He's got 2 already in the ball game. 7-point advantage for the Tigers.
We get that ball below the free throw line extended. There it goes
nice
to the short corner.
Side. And what a move with the left hand by Barber. Great feed from Reed, and Barber with the left hand off the glass.
And Barber got his numbers facing towards the point guard. He got his back to the baseline, Brad, and became a big target near that short corner. Very important.
Hollinger, tough drive, and the follow by Jamario Davidson.
Davidson needs to do more of that. 31 of his last 36 rebounds have been defensive. He's an offensive rebounder if he goes with passion.
Hook shot on one end. Tolbert almost tipped it in. Davidson pulled it down. Here comes Hollinger.
Ronald Steele now becomes the 2 guard with Hollinger on the floor at the point.
And that gives Steele a little bit of rest on that knee and ankle as Davidson now trying to take over on the inside. Jamario's got 8.
Davidson likes to float in the half court and not have a true position, but in this ball game, he needs to go to that low block because he's 3 inches taller than anyone else on the floor.
Out of bounds, 8:43 remaining in the half. Reese Davis with the Sports Center 30 at 34. Reese.
All right, Brad, some coaching news from the NBA. Timberwolves trying to shake their malaise. Fired Dwayne Casey. Randy Whitman named the interim boss in Minnesota. Timberwolves have lost 4 games in a row. And some NFL news. Tank Johnson's going to be allowed to travel to the Super Bowl while awaiting charges. A judge clearing the way for the Bears defensive tackle to go to the Super Bowl. Sports Center after the game. ESPN News only.
All right, Reese, thanks. Alabama inside. G trying to score. The officials are telling Jeff Lebo, Jeff, you can't come this far out on the court. And G's going to go to the free throw line.
That's what I'm talking about. Look at 32. Get his numbers facing right at the point guard the last possession. When you're running along that baseline, you want to become a big target for the point guard up top. Get your rear end to that baseline. Expose your numbers. Boom. Up and in.
Tolbert picks up his second foul as G goes to the free throw line. A 64% free throw shooter. Made the All-SEC freshman team last year. Now a sophomore out of Palm Beach, Florida. And G really came on, and we saw this really the last month of last season, Jimmy. He started to show what he was all about. And now one of the top guys, 15 points a game, 11th best scorer in the conference, and the #1 scorer for Alabama.
Over the last 2 weeks, G has gotten half of his points a game at the free throw stripe. Look out.
How fast was that? Robertson missed the slam, and now Alabama coming back the other way. Chance to make it a 2-point game. Spin inside, up off the glass is G. And Alabama, once down by 10, has cut it to a deuce as we approach 8 minutes.
G, one of those blue blazer guys, versatile, can do a little bit of everything, can go with everything.
Alabama now on a 7-0 run. Nice feed inside by Providence. In close, Barber misses.
Well, aren't they attacking the short corner of the zone well, huh?
Yep. Alabama can tie it up. The up and under didn't work for Riley, and Auburn with a rebound. Ahead to Barber. Barber on the fly, lays it in, and one. Foul on Hollinger. But Alabama's made a nice push. They scored 7 straight with plays like Alonzo G on the inside. And we got a good ball game going in the SEC. A long time. And Carla lost her son Landon in a car accident a couple of days ago into the Ellison family and everybody involved with the Alabama crew, we want to send out our condolences on that loss.
You know what? And it says a lot about Mark Godfrey, because in the middle of his shoot-around today on game day, he broke away from his kids and came over to you and I and said, hey, would you please do me a favor? I mean, that kind of tells you a lot about the makeup of a guy when it's on his mind like that in the middle of a practice. And certainly our thoughts and prayers are with the Ellison family. They are from Mark. I know that.
Yep. Auburn with 18 points in the paint. Steele cut off at the pass by Robertson. Gets it back with 15 on the shot clock. He's going to go straight up with a three. And got the shooter's roll. His third three of the ball game. 11 points for Ronald Steele.
I tell you, when you allow him to rhythm dribble into his shot up top on a couple of smooth rhythm bounces, he's about a 50% three-point shooter.
Well, he hit a three to tie the game against Georgia at 76, and then the game winner that you saw in the open of our ball game. But he hit that three to tie it at 76 from about 24 feet away in the top of the circle after Jamario Davidson set a pick for him. And so, as Jimmy said, you get him in rhythm, and he is a heck of a shooter. Here's Reed through traffic. Nobody cut him off, but he missed the layup.
Did a good job of attacking the bad knees of Steele defensively. Went right by him.
Riley for the lead, and the rebound. Who's going to get it? Whoa. Auburn does. And the jam by Dollar. Boy, great hustle by both teams after a loose ball. Dollar the recipient on the other end, and Auburn by 4. And Alabama turns it over. We've had very few turnovers in the ball game.
But it's Alabama versus Auburn. They're going to award the Iron Bowl trophy to the football team at the halftime of this game that goes along with this rivalry. Football is played with the same type of passion on those Saturdays as this basketball game is being played. That's what is so important in this state when Alabama and Auburn hook up.
This has got to at least be an iron cup or an iron saucer, doesn't it?
Something.
May not be a bowl, but it's pretty good. They date back to 1924 in this one. They met 83 years ago for the first time in Atlanta in the Southern Conference Tournament. That's before there was the Southeastern Conference. Barrett's jumper. Davidson will clear it. The pass ahead. Got a man open. And the three was blocked as Hollinger tried to put up the long jumper, and somebody got a hand on it. And now, just when I said there weren't many turnovers, Auburn gives it back.
Hollinger got that last shot blocked for Alabama because he's only 5'10", Brad. He has to be wide open before he fires one up because a taller defender can quickly recover to him. He has to know that.
Here's our Star Watch, guys. Robertson on Steele. And Steele, an ill-advised bounce pass again that Jimmy warned against. Robertson on the break.
It's too slow of a pass, Brad. It takes about a half second longer to get from point A to point B. Again, I think if Steele was injury-free, he would not be making those lazy shortcut passes. That's what that is. And they cup the point guard again up top.
Auburn by 6 as we're under 5 in the half. Here goes that rhythm three. Hendricks pushed off, I think, to get the rebound. That's going to be the call. Hendricks isn't happy, but I believe that's going to be his third foul. ACC Wednesday presented by Staples coming up tomorrow, featuring the 4th-ranked Tar Heels of North Carolina. They'll take on Wake Forest. 7 o'clock Eastern tomorrow, available in high definition on ESPN HD. And Richard Hendricks, for all practical purposes, is going to take him out of the ballgame. There's the ACC standings with what we saw tonight at the finish of Boston College. They're still on top of the heap, but North Carolina can get within a game and they can win over Wake Forest. The bottom of the conference coming up on ACC Wednesday tomorrow.
SEC, in my opinion, is still the toughest league in college basketball right now. The ACC is just right there behind it.
Davidson, another rebound defensively.
Rondo Tucker being mentioned as a possible National Player of the Year. I would vote for Kevin Durant right now. But Tyrell Hansbrough now, come March, could also figure into that process. Plays the game harder than anyone else on the college level, night in and night out.
Again, trying to get the trap on Steele. This time prowled too much and picks up the foul.
And when you cup a point guard and chase him and double him, you double in a stance and you double with your body, not with your hands. That time Auburn got caught with their hands about 35 feet from the bucket.
Saw that shot after talking about North Carolina being on our ACC Wednesday, and then a shot at Jeff Lebo, and I can still see him in that Carolina blue uniform and all he learned from Coach Smith putting to use here in the SEC now. Missed by Davidson. Prowl clears it, now ahead. Tough catch if he can make it, and he can't. As Barber got pinned against his own baseline and just couldn't handle the pass. Auburn turns it over.
Hey, Jeff Lebo, he's on my guard the coach team. That guy can play, man. You better guard him.
We better check that all coach team when we come. I've been waiting my whole life to vote for Digger. He just won't run. Nobody wants him. Reese, you're tied down by 6 with 3:51 remaining in the first half here at Beard Eaves Memorial Coliseum. Our Super Tuesday presented by Lexus, and Auburn has looked good throughout the ballgame. Alabama jumped out, led by 5. Then it was 15 straight points for Auburn. Alabama answered with a 7-0 run of their own, and we got a 6-point game with 3:45 remaining in the first half. Brad Nessler, Jimmy Dykes, Heather Cox with you from Auburn, Alabama.
Auburn 1-3-1 out of the timeout. They will change their defenses at times coming out of those timeouts. Ronald Steele, a veteran, recognizes it, though, and gets his club organized.
G cut off on the baseline nicely by Dwayne Reed. Ball loose again. Alabama turns it over, and here come the Tigers on the run again. They give it right back. Each team with 5 turnovers, make it 6 for Alabama. Both teams try to run, and both teams a little bit sloppy in doing so.
And a couple of times in this game, Brad, Auburn has made Alabama play a little bit faster than they really want to. That last turnover was an example of it by Hollinger.
That actually isn't going to be a turnover because Alabama is going to get the ball. So the officials had a little conference, and instead of Auburn ball, it's Alabama. And they throw it into the backcourt. Whoa, almost a walk. Wasn't called. Fans thought so too. Looked like an extra step for Demetrius Jemison.
He didn't walk, he ran. There's a difference.
Okay, I'll take that.
He likes to come back to his right, Davidson.
Davidson, left hand off the glass. Jamario Davidson's had a big half, 10 points in a variety of ways.
You saw Auburn get on his right hand and actually force him to do something with his left on that play.
Auburn around the perimeter.
Short corner has been good to him, just outside the lane along the baseline.
And that would be Dollard.
There it is.
But he lost the handle. Davidson squares up and takes the outside jumper over Barber, and the foul's on Barber, and it's going to be 2 free throws coming up, and Jeff Lebo kind of a sarcastic smile. You were talking about him being a great guard, guarding the coaches. What do you got?
Well, I got guys that are currently head coaches on the Division I level that could flat out play when they're in college. Here's my first and second team. Steve Alford at Iowa, Jeff Lebo here, Billy Donovan, Lorenzo Romar, Reggie Theus makes my first team. On the second team, you got guys like, I mean, look at the second team, how strong they are. Matt Painter, Tommy Amaker, head coach of Michigan, Jeff Capel, Mark Gottfried, and Lon Kruger. Mark Gottfried was not on my team as of noon today, but he pulled out the Alabama press guy and said, look, I made 8 threes against Vanderbilt. That's still the single game record at Alabama, and I'm the career 3-point leader. So he talked and shot his way to my second team.
Well, you know, while they were warming up, Mikhail Riley yelled over to us, says, I'm going to break that 8 threes in a single game record. And Coach Gottfried said, no, you're not. And I said, let him have 7 and then pull him. He said, you got it.
Beauty of coaching at your alma mater, you can control things.
There goes a 3 for Quan Prowl.
He is 6'8", but his legs tell you he's about 6'2", so he's got some guard stuff in his game, flirting around that 3-point line.
So Alabama's cut it to 2 on 3 different occasions, only to have Auburn with the answer. Davidson goes up and got it again. Jamario Davidson using that 6'10" body.
Like what Alabama has done with him, they have forced him to go to the low block in this ball game.
Oh, Prowl, that's a heat check right there. Davidson rips down his 7th rebound. That shot shouldn't have been taken, probably.
Nope.
1:15 left in the half, a 3-point.
Brad 33 in red. is a floater in the half court, but in this game, he's gone to that low block.
Steele has his pocket picked. Again, a quick shot by Auburn. Two shots that probably would have been better left to be worked inside. Jeff Lebo's telling them that right now.
You know what? A young team in front of a full house can sometimes have too much energy and want to do too much too quick. I think that's what also you've seen the last two possessions out of Jeff Lebo's squad.
Did they call 10 seconds or over and back? I'm trying to get word on what that was. I'm not quite sure why they're going to give it back to Auburn. It looked like it was a 10-second call, but I didn't think it took that long for Hollinger. We're going to see coming off. There's the rebound at 102. And let's see how slow they are.
Watch the shot clock on the left. If it hits 25, you got 10 seconds.
It's a good call. Looks like a good call. 102 down to 52. And so sometimes just laziness of bringing it up court and thinking about what your coach wants you to do in the final minute can cost you a turnover. And that apparently is going to be the case with Alabama. Don't forget, coming up on Thursday, Throwdown Thursday, presented by IBM, features Clemson Tigers of the ACC, ranked 17th in the country. They'll visit the 10th-ranked Blue Devils of Duke at Cameron Indoor, 7 o'clock Eastern Thursday on ESPN and available in high definition on ESPN HD. DeMarcus Nelson and Josh McRoberts and the crew taking on James Mays and those Clemson Tigers that have been one of the surprise clubs in college basketball.
Balanced, kind of like these two clubs tonight. A bunch of guys that average between 10 and 12 points a ball game is what Clemson throws at you.
Both these teams, and here's a steal and a bad pass by G, and he'll slam it home. So just kind of a slip in the front court costs 2 points, and Alabama back to within one. These two teams each have 5 guys averaging in double figures. The two teams we're watching right here at Auburn tonight.
Auburn, I try to take the last shot unless you get something like that.
Oh, and they're going to call a jump ball as Davidson blocked the shot by Dollard. And with the possession arrow, it's going back to Alabama with a chance to actually lead this thing at halftime.
That's why you take one shot at the end of the half, Brad, because that was kind of a high-risk pass to begin with. Yeah, he caught it right in front of the rim, but the block comes, and now Alabama has a chance to hit one at the buzzer and have the momentum.
Hollinger's going to take it all the way with the right hand and the follow by Davidson. Alabama with a lead, final chance. If Auburn can get a long shot away, they can't. And boy, what a finish to the first half by Alabama. Jamario Davidson goes out holding his hand up high because he had quite a first half as he ended up with 16 points, including that follow right there with about 4 seconds left. And so Alabama, after trailing in the ball game by as many as 10, have come back, and our Star Watch update looks like that. The guards are doing their business, but Jamario Davidson is doing more work on the inside for Alabama. And at halftime, the 12th-ranked team in the country on the road in a tough spot, leading by 1, 36-35, as we head to the UPS halftime report and Reese Davis. Reese. Back on Super Tuesday, presented by Lexus, Field Eaves Memorial Coliseum in Auburn, Alabama. We've had a seesaw first half. 12th-ranked Alabama with a 10-3 run at the end of the first half, and they lead by 1. They haven't lost a game that they've led at halftime. 13-0 so far on the season. Welcome back, everybody. Brad Nessler, Jimmy Dykes. Kind of a seesaw battle, a series of runs. We only had 1 tie and 2 lead changes. You wouldn't have thought that. But great defense at one stretch by Auburn, and then Alabama made a nice run at the end.
And the game was played with the fire and passion you expect between Alabama and Auburn. And, you go back and revisit the keys to the game. I think they played out pretty well for us in this ball game. Auburn has tried to play fast when they've had the opportunity. And you look at Alabama. Did they get things done around the rim? Yes, 20 points to 36. They trailed by 10, so they didn't even get off to a great start. They kind of matched Auburn early a little bit. Did Auburn attack Alabama's guards? I would say so. 12 assists on 15 field goals. And did Auburn make their free throws? Yes, they did. But the key right there is only 3 out of 3. Alabama, Brad, they defend as well as anyone in the country without fouling. They only average about 13 fouls per ball game. Auburn's got to get to that charity stripe.
Auburn will have it first to open the second half. Let's see if they can regain the lead. They led by as many as 10. 19-9 was their biggest lead in the first half. They'll try to open with a 3. And tipped in Actually, Jamario Davidson was there, but they're going to give it to Vaught Barber, and he's got 11, and they do regain the lead to open the second half. Now Davidson, who had 16 in the first stanza, misses his opener, and the rebound comes off to Dollard.
Davidson caught it at the 6-foot mark and shot it from the 9-foot mark. He's got to go towards the rim with that height advantage in this ball game. Like Jay Billis, if Digger runs for president and succeeds, I'm going to go to work for ESPN Deportes and head south. I'm leaving the country.
Crowell, his second three of the ball game. And what a great opener for Auburn. Up by 4 now. Well, that's the way you want to come out of the locker room when you got demoralized a little bit at halftime by the 10-3 run by Alabama to finish off the last couple of minutes of the first half. Davidson, offensive foul. Let's check in with Heather.
Well, a couple of notes from both coaches. Coach Lebo for Auburn, no surprise, said we've got to keep the ball from going inside, especially to Jamario Davidson. He also said we'd like to keep up the frenetic pace and try to get Alabama on the bench, meaning get them into foul trouble. Now for Alabama, I said, how did you get some offensive intensity after the slow start? He said we got more ball movement in the second half. Coach Godfrey said we'd like to see more penetration and more defensive intensity.
Let's see if they can pick it up on the defensive end. As they've seen Auburn open up with 5 points, they do. They come up with a stop and a steal. Pull-up jumper by Hollinger, missed, and Davidson with a rebound. Instead of going back up with it, he brought it down, made himself 5'10", and turned it over.
Hesitated. Just catch it and keep it high, huh?
Now he's got the rebound on the other end, though, and he's working on a serious double-double. That is his 10th rebound to go with 16 points.
One of the best I ever saw at catching a rebound and keeping it high was Kevin McHale. Matter of fact, a lot of coaches will do the McHale drill because of that.
Well, McKay did the drill today, firing his coach.
He sure did. One of my former guys.
A whole different kind of drill.
Dwayne Casey.
Dwayne Casey got drilled.
He and I were on the staff together in Kentucky. Kevin McHale kept it high on him, didn't he?
That'll be on SportsCenter, by the way. That's about 17 minutes and 45 seconds of game time from now. Auburn by 4. Dollard and Prowl, Barrett. Along with Robertson, here's Dollard on the shot from the elbow. Dollard's got 8.
A good job, Brad, of Dollard not to dribble himself out of a shot. He took one bounce and got to the open 10-foot mark and settled for it right there. Had he taken another bounce, he could have over-penetrated and actually dribbled out of a shot.
Three-pointer won't go from Steele.
There's a speed.
And it's going to send Auburn to the free throw line. Robertson can really get down court in a hurry. And G picks up the foul. Auburn opens up 7-0 to start the second half and capture a 6-point lead. And they can add to it right here from the free throw line.
The other thing I like about Quantez Robertson as a point guard, he's the #1 defensive rebounder on the team for Auburn. So this is a guy that can rip it off the rim and then run it right up your backside without having to pass the basketball.
This is the free throw.
Well, you win a lot of ball games with these kind of numbers, but that top one right there leads the NCAA. They average only fouling 12.9 times a game. Defend without fouling, Alabama does it well.
The other thing Quantez Robertson does, 2.45 to 1 assist-to-turnover ratio, which is in the top 5 in the SEC. He got 1 of 2 free throws, so it's an 8-0 run to open the second half. And I don't know if the Tigers were fired up by the Iron Bowl trophy being presented to Auburn for the 5th straight year for the football team's win over Alabama, and the fact that the Alabama officials had to sing the Auburn fight song, which got the crowd riled up. But the basketball team acts like they were around for that. They were in the locker room, but I think they knew about it.
You would think $4 million might win you an Iron Bowl ball game, huh? That's what Alabama's hoping anyway.
Ronald Steele, his 4th three-pointer of the ball game. Ronald's got 14.
And Auburn is not standing on his toes when he catches it on the perimeter, forcing him to do something off the bounce, which you must do. He's got a bad knee and a bad ankle.
They've helped him out a little bit by taking him off the point at times and letting Hollinger be out on top. And that's helped Steele, who knocks it out of bounds. It'll still be Auburn ball. Almost 4 minutes into the second half. Auburn with a good opening 4-minute stanza to regain the lead from Alabama. Jeff Lebo looking for his first win over Alabama as a head coach, be it at Auburn, be it at Tennessee Chattanooga or Tennessee Tech. He's never beaten them. 0-7. Davidson picks up his second foul.
Brad, if you're defending a quick jumper like Barber, who's now at the free throw stripe, on an out-of-bounds situation, you've got to make sure you have your body on his body and don't let him get his legs into a jump right around the rim. That time he just kind of slipped out of there on a little reverse slice cut right to the front of the rim. He got space. That space allowed him to jump and get some freedom in front of the rim.
Novotny, the sophomore out of Manchester, Georgia. McDonald's All-American, Gatorade Player of the Year when he was a senior. He's not a good free throw shooter, but tonight he is, 2 for 2. Playing the third one. But the long rebound comes out to Auburn. They've got a chance to add to the lead. Prowl for 3. That's off the mark, an air ball to the backside. And a 5-point Auburn lead. 3 minutes and 50 seconds into the half. Alabama brings back Mikhail Riley, and Hollinger sits down. Frank Tolbert will come back in for Auburn. And Dollard will sit down. Tolbert was the infusion of offense when he came off the bench in the first half. He had 9 points as the 6th man in the first half. And that was tie for the top spot with Barber scoring honors in the first 20 minutes for the Tigers.
He still pick up his dribble about 30 feet away. He would not do that if he had the explosiveness to go by folks. Just taking a shortcut within the game is what he's forced to do.
Davidson, nice move. Squared up, got his man to duck down in the paint and then hit the 15-footer. His first basket of the second half. Jamario's got 18.
Got right on top of the sweet spot, didn't he? Against any defense, you get the ball in that spot on the floor, you're good to go.
Steele and Davidson have 32 of the 41 Alabama points. Steal by Tolbert, and Robertson going coast to coast, leaves it underneath for Barber. Great job by all 3 of those guys to keep a handle on the basketball.
Well, it was a great job by Barber to run, because I'm telling you what, Quantez Robertson ran about a 4.3 40 from one end to the other, and the big was right there to clean it up.
It looks like they're making this an Auburn timeout. I'm not quite sure. But when you think about football, you think about the Iron Bowl revisited. 5 straight for the Tigers. They got the trophy at halftime here earlier tonight. Well, there's a good look at the Iron Bowl trophy. 5 straight years handled by Auburn with their win on the football field over Alabama. Coach Tuberville accepting that. And a guy that's been part of that the last couple of years is with Heather Cox, Brandon Cox.
Joined by the quarterback, and like you said, 5 consecutive Iron Bowls. But Brandon, it wasn't easy. 4 lead changes in this year's game. What makes this Auburn-Alabama rivalry just so intense?
It's just, when you're born here in the state of Alabama, you got to pick Alabama or Auburn. And, that's what people think about 300 feet side days a year. Alabama-Auburn, and it's just a very intense rivalry.
And Auburn was the only team this year to beat the national champion Florida Gators. How rewarding was this season for you?
It was, it's up and down season. We struggled a lot, but come away with 11 wins. And also to beat the national championship, it's something we can always remember.
And let's talk a little bit of basketball. You actually played 3 years of high school basketball. What's the key for Auburn? Actually, we're going to take a little break as they take a timeout, but we'll talk more to Brandon Cox when we come back.
After Kenny Irons and Brad Lester set things up, it was Brandon Cox going deep in the nighttime air for the capper and the Iron Bowl win over Alabama. Back to Heather and Brandon.
And to be continued, as I was asking a little bit about college hoops. You played 3 years of high school basketball. What do you think Auburn needs to do to ensure a win against Bama in this one?
Just keep doing what they're doing. They're not turning the ball over, making good shots. and just keep doing what they're doing, playing good defense. So hopefully we can pull it out.
And back to football. Spring ball starts February 27th, but you guys have a lot of offensive players that are leaving. How do you replace those?
We got a lot of talent. It's just we have to replace 4 guys on the offensive line. Got a lot of talent. Just going to be young, and the receiver got tons of talent. Just going to have to get in spring practice and work hard and just get them used to playing. And we got a lot of talent, so I think we'll be all right.
Well, we'll be looking forward to watching. Best of luck and thanks for your time, guys. Back to you.
Well, a big win in the Cotton Bowl. Of course, Florida won the national championship. LSU throttled Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl. Georgia with a win in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. And you go down the list. That's how tough the SEC is every week in football. And it's starting to get that way, Jimmy, in basketball. You and I were talking about it today in between shoot-arounds. They kind of beat up on each other. And I know it's that way in all the good conferences, but when you come into Auburn, and Auburn only won 12 games all last year, and right now they're leading the number 12 team in the country by 7.
Yep, you look at some of the wins already. Georgia won at Arkansas. Vanderbilt won at Kentucky. Those are quality wins, and I judge a league sometimes by how deep can they go in March, how many can get to the Sweet 16, and I look at the SEC right now with 5 teams that are legit threats to maybe get to the Sweet 16. That's a lot of strength in one league now. You know what stood out about that interview with Brandon to me when he said, I'm from Alabama, and you have to choose
That's right.
between Alabama and Auburn. There is no gray area in this state. That's what makes this game.
The first thing I thought of is as soon as they cut the umbilical cord, they either put crimson on or they put blue and orange. And that's it. And you're stuck like that.
There you go.
You're a baby. You're 3 weeks old, and you don't know, but you know pretty soon. Offensive foul as Frank Tolbert held his ground.
Yeah, the defender comes right up in the grill of Riley right there. And I mean, he's trying to square up, but the elbow gets out and initiates the contact.
Riley has not scored, so he's got more fouls than he's got points. Auburn with their second biggest lead of the ball game. Hendricks clears it off. Here's Riley running with G. G goes up and pinned against the glass by 2 defenders. Back comes Auburn. Great defense and great hustle, I might add. Tolbert inside. Ball still loose. Finally a whistle and a foul, and it's going to be on Riley. Wow, you talk about hustling down court. Watch this.
I mean, that's explosion by G. And 6 arms and 1 basketball around that rim with quickness. Bam! That's it. I think it's a good no call. Just play on the other way.
Tolbert just pinned it against the glass. He only plays one way, and that's about 100 miles an hour. Sometimes his teammates even get out of his way during practice, Frank Tolbert.
You know what? Effort, in my opinion, now is a skill. And coaches talk about it. It's something that you learn and you can develop just like your handle or your shot or going to the offensive glass. Effort is a skill and very important on the college level.
And in that capacity, Tolbert right here with a 3 has got a lot of it, and he knocks down a triple. Biggest lead of the ball game for the Tigers.
Sometimes the guys that play the hardest are also guys that can make the tough shots, and that was a tough shot out of Tolbert.
A 12-point advantage, and Alabama throws it away. Frank Tolbert made the pin against the glass on one end, and as Jimmy said, the harder you play, sometimes you reap the rewards. There goes a triple.
And he's really good when he's shaping up to his left. That time he shuffled his feet on the catch. 1-2, going to his left, right in perfect rhythm.
And now he throws a pass inside, but it's knocked away, and back comes Alabama. Riley. And Riley, his first basket of the ball game in transition off a nice defensive play by Alabama on the other end.
A tough pass by Ronald Steele. Had to throw it about 20 feet through a bounce pass that came right up to belt level. Not easy to do, but he made it look easy.
We're under 12 minutes. Auburn leading Alabama, trying to snap a 7-game losing streak against the Tide. Inside power by Dollard. Dollard's got a dozen.
The problem with Dollard sometimes is he has too many turnovers. And yesterday, Jeff Lebo said, here's your goal tomorrow night. No assists and no turnovers. What he was telling his big was, just make the simple plays.
There's an Alabama turnover and a slam by Tolbert. This might be timeout time for Alabama. It's a 14-point game. Mark Godfrey looks up at the scoreboard. with 11 minutes remaining in the ball game, and he says, we got to talk it over. Timeout, Alabama. Time in for the Auburn Tigers by 14 with 11:08 remaining in the ball game. Frank Tolbert going coast to coast. 5 big points in the last minute for him.
Frank Tolbert could run for governor in this state right now and get a lot of votes, at least half of them.
57-43, 11:08 remaining. And the orange and blue clad lunatics behind us having a big time here on their home floor. Let's check in with Heather.
Well, Frank Tolbert having an amazing game, has extra physical gifts, and I mean that literally. He's known as a polydactyl, which means he has an extra 6th finger. Both his dad and grandmother, both polydactyls as well, and believe it or not, he's not the only elite athlete with extra digits. A major league pitcher, Antonio Alfonseca, also has 6 fingers and 6 toes on each hand and foot. His nickname, El Pulpo, which means the octopus. Now, they have offered to have Frank Tolbert's extra fingers surgically removed. He said, you know what? It's a source of pride. It feels like a status symbol in my family. I'll keep them. Thank you very much.
It's a hell of a deal at Christmas when you're looking for gloves, but other than that, he's putting them to good use tonight.
Again, plays the game like it's supposed to be played. In practice yesterday, he was diving on the floor. He played the hardest yesterday. He has that same effort right now.
And he didn't start tonight, but he was the catalyst off the bench with 9 first-half points. And now his 5-point spurt here just before that timeout has given Auburn the momentum and the lead. And here he comes into the front court, up by 14 as we approach 10 minutes.
Auburn has the game going fast. That's what they want.
Barrett got it from the outside. Auburn by 17.
Brad, the shot came after one pass. The tempo in this building is exactly what the team in white wants. And that's where the ball has to go for Alabama the next 10 minutes.
There's a good follow by Hendricks, and he has not been much of an offensive threat tonight. That's only 4 points for Richard Hendricks.
Alabama needs a stretch of 3 or 4 minutes where they say, if you shoot before Big touches it on the block, you're coming out. Pound the thing inside and try to get back in this ball game.
Inside again for Auburn. And again, Crowell has got 10. And Auburn mixing it up. 4 guys in double figures. That's their MO. 4 or 5.
Hendricks and Davidson have to get real greedy in that low post and start demanding the basketball.
There's a big shot by Ronald Steele. That's his 5th three-pointer of the game, his 39th of the season for the preseason All-American, and it momentarily quiets the crowd. And a whistle and a foul. Auburn at the free throw line when we come back right now with a big lead, 62-48. All right, Reese, we have no idea how that marriage is working, but it is apparently. One Auburn fan, one Alabama fan. Maybe they're not married, maybe they're dating, and that'll probably end quickly. 14-point Auburn lead with 9:14 remaining in the ball game. Auburn looking for the first road win by an SEC West team this season. 0-14. Alabama's the one looking for a win on the road.
Also tells you the strength of this league right now.
That's an amazing stat. 0-14. No place is friendly. On this side of the SEC anyway. Barber missed them both.
Now we'll know what Mark Godfrey talked about in his timeout on this possession. Did he emphasize get that ball inside, slow the game down, and score at the rim?
Hollinger hurrying inside, and he's fouled. And the foul's going to be on Tolbert. Let's check in with the Sports Center 30 at 30. Here's Reese.
Guys, some coaching news in the NBA. Timberwolves have been in a bit of a malaise. They're hoping to turn things around by Firing the head coach. Dwayne Casey is out. Randy Whitman in as an interim coach. And from the NFL, Tank Johnson has been cleared by a judge because of his legal problems and allowed to travel to the Super Bowl with the Bears. Sports Center after the game, ESPN News, always on cable.
All right, Reese, thanks. Back here at Auburn. It is Auburn under 9 minutes, leading 62-48. Remember, Alabama had to come from 19 down, and they still trailed by 10 or 11 at about the 4.5-minute mark against Georgia on Saturday and came back to win. They're going to need another one of those kind of comebacks now here on the road at Auburn. They trail by 13.
That was the only 8th free throw attempt for Alabama in this ballgame. That's another reason why I think they will start going towards the rim. It stops the game, it quiets the crowd, and gives Alabama a shot with 8 and change to go.
It'll be interesting now. Auburn has been pushing the tempo of this game throughout, and now they're trying to use some clock, and we'll see if they can play that way. Foul on G. And that's his second. Hendricks, by the way, before that timeout is the guy that picked up the foul. And that was his 4th. So there he sits. And not a big night for him, as many points as fouls, as he's a 14.5-point scorer. Well, misses the free throw, so Alabama comes back at the 8.5-minute mark, trying to close the gap. Davidson off the glass. The hook shot didn't go, but Riley gets it back and puts it in.
But the last 2 possessions, what has Alabama done with that basketball? They've gone to the low block, either off of the pass or off of the bounce. That's how they're trying to get back in this ball game.
And they are back to within 11. They trailed by 17 not that long ago. 8 minutes to play. Tolbert, 3. Got it! Frank Tolbert, 3rd 3 of the ball game, 2nd of this half. He's got 17.
And a great job by Tolbert, Brad, to come off of the screen, but he didn't get in such a hurry that he didn't get shaped up with his hips and his shoulders at the rim.
Nice drive, but not the finish by G. Back comes the Tigers, and wisely, Dwayne Reed slowed it down. They don't need that many points right now. They're going to put it up anyway. 3-pointer. And Jeff Lebo is steamed right now at Josh Dollard, I can tell you. And Josh Dollard's going to be out of the ball game the next time we get a whistle. You want to bet?
He's only made 9 threes all year. Why in the world would you take that shot?
And he fouls on the other end. Now I know he's coming out. That's an angry coach.
He's coming out twice.
He's coming out
double. He's going to come out, put him back in, and bring him back out again.
He's number 3. Basically, we'll say number 6 is leaving the floor right now because he's getting taken out twice.
Presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors, driven to thrill.
Auburn fans are loving it. 65-51 with 7:16 to go on our Super Tuesday presented by Lexus. And Frank Tolbert, Jimmy Dykes, is lighting up this crowd.
Well, it's a great job in their half-court offense of setting a headhunter screen. Now, hold it right here, guys. 24 is the screener. He's going to come down here and set a headhunter screen. And all he's thinking about is, where is the maroon jersey that I'm supposed to go pick? So he seeks out the maroon jersey right there. Boy, that's a great headhunter screen. Freed up a jump shooter at the top of the key. He didn't screen air. He screened with a purpose and got his teammates a wide-open 3.
Frank Tolbert, the junior out of River Falls, Alabama, played AAU ball for the great Wesley Person, who is an All-American, and his jersey's up in the rafters. So that's the connection between Tolbert and coming to Auburn. Here's another Alabama turnover. And they cannot afford to turn it over as we're under 7 minutes to make any kind of comeback. They've got to make every trip count, and they didn't make that one count at all.
Time, score, and momentum is what determines your shot selection in the ball game. All 3 of those are in favor of the white. They can be very selective.
And they threw it away. As Reed got the pass a little bit too far in front of Quantez Robertson on the baseline.
Hey, partner, wasn't it good news this week when we heard about Kay Yao?
Absolutely.
32nd year as head coach at the NC State women's program. A real woman and pioneer for women's basketball. Has been out for 2 months battling cancer. Back in the position this week. And our shout out to Kay Yao and the job she has done in her career. I'm glad she's back.
Yep, good to have you back, Coach. Alonzo G scored for Alabama on the inside. Ronald Steele coming out to meet Tez Robertson out high. As Alabama's got to pick up the defensive intensity as well. See if they can get some stops and turn them into points on the other end. Left hand. Great move by Quan Prowell.
When you have to have a stop on the road like Alabama just did, you have got to lock down and take it personal when your guy scores on you. That time Alabama didn't play with that kind of passion.
Riley had a 3 on the overplay by Barrett, but it didn't cost him anything as he missed the outside jumper. 14-point Auburn lead. Trying to snap a 7-game losing skid against their arch rivals from Tuscaloosa.
This is a great time to go to your set plays for Auburn. Boy, how about that one? And why do you go to a set play? Because you've got a lead. You've got the clock on your score and the momentum on your side. Go to a set play for Jeff Lebo and dictate the shot you want in this ball game. They did it to perfection.
Prowl with back-to-back baskets. The Tigers are on the prowl right now. And the foul's going to be on Tolbert. And Tolbert pleading his case. It was a hard pick that was set. And we'll get another look at it.
That's been happening a few times in this ball game. That's just hand-to-hand combat right there when Steele's trying to work off that UCLA high post cut. Auburn's done a good job in this game of doing that right there. Hand-to-hand combat, but this time they get called for it, and it's the proper call.
That is 4 on Frank Tolbert. With 5:13 to go. It'll still be Alabama ball knocked out of bounds.
Every time that ball becomes belt level, those quick hands of Auburn, boom, they're on it, aren't they, defensively?
I may have said Tolbert has 4. I stand corrected. They tell me 3 fouls on Tolbert. That's a big difference with as hard as he plays, and he just kicked the ball defensively out of bounds. So Alabama will maintain possession. 5:03 remaining in the ball game.
Jeff's club has done a nice job of interior defense, Brad, because they're small. Sometimes they front, sometimes they play behind, sometimes they play on the side. They've kept it a guessing game with their post defense in this ball game.
Boy, Hendricks bails out Riley, who missed another 3. Riley is the top 3-point shooter for Alabama, but tonight it's not been his night in that capacity. Hasn't hit a 3 yet. And another foul. The NBA on ESPN continues tomorrow. Tracy McGrady and the Rockets take on Tim Duncan and the Spurs. 9 o'clock Eastern tomorrow on ESPN. Available in high definition on ESPN HD. Alabama's had the ball for about 3 minutes here. They still haven't scored.
And they've done, though, what the game plan was told to do about 3 or 4 minutes ago. They've gone to the painted area of the floor over the last 6 or 7 possessions. They just haven't converted.
So Auburn's got it back. They just like to use some clock here. They have forced a couple of quick shots when they shouldn't have. This guy, though, has done a great job on the inside. Leaves it for his teammate, Barber. Barber with a score. An 18-point lead is the biggest of the ball game. And with 4 minutes and 17 seconds left, this might not be a trim. This might be a full cut by the Barber right here on Alabama.
Yeah, it is. It's a crew cut going on right now. The interior guys of Auburn are all about 6'7" or 6'8", so they beat you with quickness. They go around you. They don't go over the top of you or through you. And time again in this ball game, they have gone around Alabama's bigs.
Well, Alabama plays so well at home, but sometimes the road is not as good to them. And they have the NC State win to their credit, but the other losses to Notre Dame, Arkansas, and Vanderbilt seems to have been a pain in the backside to a lot of teams, including Georgia Tech, Kentucky, and yet this is an Auburn team that's beat Vanderbilt. So that's what we're trying to tell you kind of about how this SEC is playing right now. Steele and Davidson in the first half controlled everything. They have only 8 points, 2 3-pointers by Steele, and 1 shot on the inside by Davidson. Davidson a non-factor in the second half, only 2 points and 2 rebounds. Steele misses a 3. kept alive underneath, and finally tipped in. I think G's going to get credit for it. G in double figures with 11.
You know what? Auburn has enough points in this ball game right now at 71 to win. If they just come down and work that shot clock every time and don't turn it over.
They average 80 points in their 12 wins, 63 points in their 8 losses, and they've already passed the 63 mark. As there's a whistle and a foul on the inside, and it's going to be on G. And that'll be his third. Jeff Lebo looking for a big win and looking to go one win over what they did all of last year if they can hang on here at home. And here in the SEC, it is 71-55. Auburn trying to win their 13th ball game at home and their 13th overall this year. And they've got this one pretty well in hand if they don't start turning it over, and if Alabama doesn't start scoring, it will. But Auburn, second half field goal, 68%. In fact, they have hit 10 of their last 13, which is 77%. And now they go to the free throw line. And Dollard got the roll.
Brett, I look at this rivalry kind of like when I played at Arkansas and we go to Texas. It's amazing. See those cheerleaders right there for Auburn, and you know they look really cute and smiling and all dressed up and the UA on their face. It's amazing even what cheerleaders will say to the opponent in a rivalry game.
I don't know if I want to know.
No, they're on you. They're tough. So as a coach, you got to say, forget about what the cheerleaders are saying to you also tonight. They take it up another level as well. I'm telling you.
We've got a whistle and a foul. Those poor girls can't have said anything bad to these Alabama folks.
Trust me, in a rivalry game, everything goes to another level.
Steele catches it way out near midcourt as we're at 3.5 minutes. He'll take it inside and score. 19 for Ronald Steele. He's doing his part, but he can't do it all. Robertson Tolbert's going to pull up and take it through. I'm not sure about that one, but it's kept alive. And I'm sure about that one. The Barber with another cut.
When Jeff Lebo is laying into Tolbert for that quick three-point shot. Absolutely the only thing Auburn doesn't want to do.
G up off the glass. Dollard pulls down the rebound. Auburn under 3 minutes. 75-57.
If Jeff Lebo has a special scoring play that ends up with no one taking a shot, he might want to call it right now because they don't need baskets.
They got an easy one anyway. Alabama can't do much about it. They've only got one timeout left. Largest lead now, Auburn by 20. And whether it's the Iron Bowl in football or the Iron Cup or Saucer, which is what we're calling this one, I think this one's going to be staying in Auburn too. The crowd now in a frenzy with 2 minutes and change. The road woes for Western teams in the SEC will continue, and the long losing streak by Auburn to Alabama. They get a giant monkey off their back tonight at home, and it'll be the first win ever for Jeff Lebo against an Alabama team.
Or in the rebuilding job for Jeff Lebo, just got another really big brick.
Did it ever.
Put in the foundation with a win over Alabama.
Robertson with 3 on the shot clock scores. Timeout Auburn. The fans want to savor the moment. With 1:43 to go, they are thumping the number 12 team in the country. And I mean thumping them right now. This is the first of 3 straight SEC West games for Alabama. For Auburn, in their 39th year here at Beard Eaves Memorial Coliseum, this will be as sweet a win as they have had all year long. And they've got Florida, the number 1 team in the country, coming in on Saturday. You think the wave of emotion for this team and this crowd is not going to carry over against Billy Donovan and his Gators coming in here? There you go. They can't wait. Scratch Tennessee, scratch Alabama. They scratch Florida. Everybody's going to be scratching their head.
The cat scratch fever for the Auburn Tigers is exactly what it'll be. I tell you what, when you come into this building, you must, as a coach, understand how hard Auburn plays the game. The 50-50 balls, the loose balls, the who wants it the most stuff tonight has gone to the team in white.
Listen to this balanced scoring. Barber's got 18. Tolbert's got 17, and he didn't start the game, but he came in very quickly. Dollard's got 16, and Prowl's got 14. That's not only balance, that's serious balance, because those are big numbers.
We've heard two big cheers in this building tonight. Overrated chant is going on right now, and Bring On Saban was being chanted at halftime.
It's an Auburn night for sure, for the football team at halftime and for the basketball team in 80 seconds. This is a big, big win for this program. It might not be the one that takes Jeff Lebo over the hump, but he's reaching the top of that hump, it appears.
Again, lack of scholarships, lack of recruiting visits, lack of a lot of things when he took this thing over 3 years ago. And a full house tonight is his payoff for the hard work.
Alabama with a minute left, trailing 79-57.
Brad, in my opinion, I think you'll agree.
It's the way to cap the night.
Florida is one notch above, I think, everybody else in the SEC, but 2 through 12. And I'm not sure who 2 is, I'm not sure who 12 is as competitive as you will find in college basketball right now.
The SEC West is going to have a new sheriff in town, and it's in Auburn, Alabama. I don't know if they're going to go to Turner's Corner and paper it tonight, but there's going to be some paper someplace. They will go to the head of the class at least for a day. I'm going to get out of town before the Charmin starts flying.
Frank Tolbert will want to walk really slow across campus tomorrow and absorb it as well as the rest of his teammates. They printed extra student tickets for this ball game tonight, standing room only around the top of the Coliseum. Big Valentine, Frank Tolbert.
You bet. Sports Center will follow us, the NBA's hottest teams. Is it the Mavs or the Suns? With Dirk and Nash. Parcells is gone. Will Owens be next? And Roger Clemens headed back to New York. Possibility. That's all coming up on Sports Center in 20 seconds. Some of the guys for Auburn that don't get a lot of court time are out there right now. They can cherish the moment as the standing ovations belong to the guys that put 81 points up. Auburn will go to 13-8 as Alabama might get one more shot. And that's it. Tigers snap a 7-game losing skid against their arch rivals from Tuscaloosa. And Jeff Lebo gets his first win against an Alabama team. 13-8 for Auburn, and 3-3 now in the SEC West to take the lead at least for one night. 81-57 the final. Sports Center's coming up next. For more on this game, join us shortly on ESPN News for a post-game extra. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Jimmy Dykes and Heather Cox, from a very happy Auburn, Alabama, Brad Nessler, good night.